In a quiet village surrounded by tall palm trees and red soil roads, there lived two best friends named Aisha and Mariam. They were both known for their brightness in school and for the way they always walked together with their books held tightly to their chests. Aisha's dream was to become a nurse because she wanted to help sick people and save lives. Mariam's dream was to become a teacher because she loved standing in front of her classmates pretending to teach. The two girls often sat under the big mango tree in the evenings, talking about their dreams and promising each other that nothing would ever separate them. But life was not the same for both of them. Aisha was an orphan. Her parents had died when she was only 6 years old, leaving her in the care of her grandmother. The old woman was too weak to work, so Aisha fetched water for people, helped in their farms, and used the little money she got to buy books and food for herself and her grandmother. Mariam, on the other hand, had both parents, but they were very poor. Her father was a palm wine tapper, while her mother sold firewood in the market. Still, Mariam was happier at home because her parents were alive, unlike Aisha, who cried silently sometimes at night, wishing she could hear her mother's voice again. One bright afternoon, the results of the primary six examinations were released. Both Aisha and Mariam passed with very high marks. Their teacher, Mr. Ade, was proud of them and encouraged them to pursue secondary education. The two girls ran home with excitement, thinking this was the beginning of their dreams. When Mariam told her parents that she wanted to go to secondary school in the nearby town, their faces changed. Her father looked at her angrily and said that sending a girl to school was a waste of time. He told her that in their village, it was a taboo for a girl to go beyond primary school because she would soon get married and belong to her husband's house. Her mother also agreed, reminding Mariam that she had already been promised in marriage to a trader who came from another village. Mariam cried and begged them to change their minds. She reminded them how she always came first in class, but they refused to listen. Her father told her to start preparing for her marriage. Mariam felt her world was collapsing. That evening, she ran to Aisha and told her everything. Aisha was shocked and told her to keep begging, but Mariam shook her head sadly. Her parents' decision was final. A few months later, Mariam was given away in marriage to the trader who was many years older than her. Aisha was heartbroken but determined. She got admission into the secondary school in the neighboring town with the help of a scholarship given by a group of women who admired her courage. She promised herself that she would study hard and one day return to lift her village out of ignorance. But as Aisha continued her journey in school, things changed between her and Mariam. The village elders declared it was wrong for a married woman and an unmarried schoolgirl to continue their friendship. They called it an abomination, and so the two friends were forced apart. Years passed. Aisha worked very hard, often reading by the light of a lantern when others were asleep. She faced many struggles, sometimes even going without food, but her determination never failed. When she finished secondary school, she received another scholarship to study nursing in the university. Meanwhile, Mariam's life took a different turn. Her marriage was full of challenges. She became pregnant very quickly, but had no medical care. When her time for delivery came, she suffered terribly. The baby did not survive, and Mariam developed a condition called fistula. This condition made her unable to control her bladder, and she began to leak urine all the time. Instead of helping her, her husband and his family accused her of being a witch and said she had brought a curse to their home. They abandoned her, and the villagers avoided her. Mariam became lonely and broken, forced to live on the edge of the village in shame. While Aisha was still studying in the university, she kept thinking of her childhood friend and wondering how she was doing, not knowing that Mariam was suffering alone. After many years of struggle and sleepless nights, Aisha finally graduated from the university as a professional nurse. She had grown into a confident young woman, respected for her intelligence and admired for her compassion. She knew she had fulfilled half of her dream, but her heart was still heavy because she had lost contact with her best friend, Mariam. One morning, Aisha decided it was time to visit her village after so many years. She packed her bags and traveled back along the dusty red road that led to the place where her childhood had begun. When she arrived, some villagers came out to see her. A few clapped for her, proud that one of their own had become successful, but others whispered behind her back, saying she had wasted her life because she was not married. Some even refused to greet her because they believed a woman's true glory was only in her husband's house. Ignoring the whispers, Aisha asked about Mariam. She wanted to surprise her friend with the good news of her graduation, but no one gave her a straight answer. Some said they did not know. Others avoided the question completely. Confused and worried, Aisha decided to go to Mariam's husband's house. But when she arrived, the man came out angrily with his new wife by his side. He shouted at Aisha to leave, saying Mariam had been a curse and that nobody wanted to hear her name again. He warned Aisha never to step into his compound again. Aisha's heart raced. What had happened to her friend? She kept searching for answers until an elderly woman in the village took pity on her and told her the whole truth. Mariam, after suffering fistula during childbirth, had been rejected by her husband and by the villagers. People said she was unclean and cursed. She was forced to live in the bush, away from everyone. With no one to care for her and no medical help, her condition grew worse until she finally died alone. The old woman's voice trembled as she explained how Mariam had been buried in a shallow grave without dignity, and how her husband had married another wife only a few weeks later. When Aisha heard this, her heart broke. She wept bitterly under the mango tree, where she and Mariam had once dreamed of a brighter future. She felt angry at the villagers for their cruelty, but she was also determined. She vowed that no girl in her village would ever go through what Mariam had suffered. With time, Aisha created a foundation in Mariam's memory. She reached out to the government and also to organizations that supported women and girls. Slowly, she gathered resources to help the village. Her foundation focused on two major things: free medical treatment for young girls and women who suffered from fistula and other health issues, and free education for girls up to secondary level. She started by organizing meetings in the village square, where she patiently explained the importance of education for both boys and girls. She told them how child marriage destroyed the future of many young women. At first, many people resisted. They laughed at her, calling her ideas foolish. But Aisha did not give up. She began to sponsor a few girls with her own salary, buying their books and uniforms. Slowly, the change began. Parents started to see the difference as these girls performed well in school and returned home with pride. With the support of her foundation, a small hospital was built in the village, properly equipped to handle childbirth complications and other medical needs. Aisha named the hospital Mariam's Hope Clinic in memory of her dearest friend. The opening of the hospital was a big day. Women danced, children clapped, and even the men nodded in approval. For the first time, the village began to understand the value of education and health. Aisha stood before the crowd, her eyes filled with tears, and declared that Mariam's suffering would not be in vain. The people cheered, and the village slowly turned away from harmful practices that had destroyed so many lives. And so, out of the pain of one girl's tragedy, a brighter future was born for many others. This is the end of the story. Thank you so much for watching this story. Life teaches us that every girl deserves a chance to dream, to learn, and to live with dignity. Mariam's pain became Aisha's strength, and from her story, we are reminded that change is possible when we stand together. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more people can hear stories that inspire change. And in the comments, let us know where you are watching from. We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay kind, stay hopeful, and never stop believing in a better tomorrow.